All right, so we're back, and Blender started. That totally sucked. But anyways, hang on here for a second. Get the stream going on my pad here, so I can monitor when things get crappy. All right, here we go. Again, mission tonight, try to get AGX loaded up in Blender. All right, so first thing first, I know what we're gonna need to do. If we go to Octane camera tab, we pull down this here. Let's open it up a little bit. We need to put here this OCIO. This is where we're gonna need to put the GGX thing. And right now it says there's nothing in there, so I need to figure out how do I get stuff in there. So the first thing I'm gonna do is go over here to preferences. Let's type in OCT for Octane, and then we go down here to Octane Blender. Let's pop this open. I think I remember seeing something, local database. Oh, here we go, guys. OCIO config file, and I think I put it in downloads. AGX main, AGX. So I wonder if I just hit accept right here. Let's just hit accept right there and see what happens. Automatically recommend linear. Okay, use other config files. I don't know. Let's just leave it like this first. Say preferences. And nothing's showing up. Alright, so let's do it again. Come back in here. Maybe we need to actually select the OCC file, like this file here, accept. And autosave preferences is already on. Now let's see. No, nothing. Actually, let's just reboot first. Don't save. Alrighty, let's see now. Fire it back up. Come on, Blender. Alright, let's pop this open. Octane. Nope, still nothing in there. Use look views. Nothing. Maybe we turn off aces for a minute here. Turn off aces. Still nothing. Let's try again. OCT, Octane. Oh, have to look this up on the interweb. And let's scroll down here. No, just select accept. Use other config files. Color manager, use Octane default colors. This is newly created scenes using sRGB for display and RAW for the view transform. Use for newly created scenes, use sRGB for display view and RAW. So what happens if I change this? Anyways. Oh, boom, there it is. Nice. So we want to probably use sRGB AGX. And then we should be able to, okay, here, punchy, use view looks, punchy, golden. Let's try punchy. All right, let's see. Fire up the render. This is probably not the best scene to try to figure out what this looks like. I should actually load up a scene. All right, let me find a scene to load up and let's see what the difference is. Actually, can we see what the difference is right now? Ooh, yeah. There's golden. There's punchy. Use view looks. Use none. Okay, so it's working. Okay, let me go find a scene to load up. Let me see if I can load the scene I was working on today with the what was I working on? Playing with the Quixel Bridge stuff. So that was pretty easy to set up. Okay, so this is the scene I was working on earlier today, trying out some new techniques. I learned about how to mix two textures together, like ground textures, and really make them blend. I'll kind of maybe walk through, but let's fire up this render quick. Go into layout, something like this here. And then this should be set up still for ACES. So let's go to 3D viewport. I'll let this thing compile up these. So again, I have a VDB in here that I was working on yesterday, a technique of adding VDBs in. So I added another one in today. And then again, just trying to get Quixel Bridge textures to work properly, which I did find out a little tiny nuance that was kind of killing the workflow. I think I figured out. All right, press in. There it goes. Octane. Bring this down here. Turn off ACES. Look at the difference when I turn off ACES. It's a little bit washed out, huh? A little bit more contrasty. Let me actually kill the VDB for a moment. And there we go. sRGB. And then I'm gonna go punchy. I really won't notice the difference until I start rendering them out and then take them into Photoshop. So I've actually rendered one in ACES already, so I'm gonna render this one. But these are the textures I got. I got two different textures going on here, guys. And I'm scattering some rocks using, I loaded it up today also, my GS scatter, which I loaded up. I downloaded some rocks from Quixel and scattered them out. Super easy. Nice little workflow here using this. I'm not even using their asset. I'm just using the scatter just for the scatter stuff. and let's bring back in the VDB. Let's let this kind of render out a little bit. And I'm gonna show you guys quickly this setup using the Quixel stuff. There's the scene. I'm using just an HDR for light, not really doing any crazy lighting stuff going on. So there it is. Not looking too bad. Here's my render settings that I used. 500 samples. Diffuse at 10. Specular at 10. Scatter at 10. Kinda normally I keep these at 8, but I cranked them up to 10 because I have that VDB in there. GI clamp at 1. I probably need to... I could probably tweak these settings a little bit, but it's just a still image, so I don't really care too much. So I'll just let it render. Alright, let me quickly jump back and show you guys this workflow also with Quixel. Let me save this because I'm going to render this after we get off the stream. Let's go to a fresh file. Here, what's up? What up? Why my old Octane Blender file is not working in Octane 2024. It's crashing when I open it and hit render button. I don't know, but I've had issues like that similar, where I had a file I was working. I actually just happened a couple of weeks ago. I had a file I was working on, and it crashed. And then when I went back to try to start it again, every time it rebooted and I hit the render button, it will crash and the file was just gone. Like, I don't know what went wrong. I don't know what I did, but it crashed, and it really crashed the file. So the way I get around that now is I use this right here, this power save. It's a free plugin that I got from Blender Bros, who do hard surface modeling. This is right here, power save. I use this thing right here called power save. It's it makes a backup file, but like a whole different backup file. Like, you got your Blender backup file, and then this makes another backup file, and this thing has saved me a couple of times. So let me see if I can pop open one of the files, what it looks like. Like, it literally just will give it another name. For example, if I hit this, I'm gonna hit power save. You see here at the bottom it says power save 01, so it's basically making kind of like an alternative version. So you got your basic file, and then it adds a +1, +2, +3, +4. So I kind of use that, and that kind of helps to prevent that from happening. XEU, hey, I hope you're doing well. Can you please tell me how your denoise in Octane Blender 4.02, this version feels really slow. Also, do you know any way I can use I know what add-on you're talking about with Blender Octane. Yeah, no, with those when you're using those add-ons, and if they're using cycles as their main thing for shading, if you look into those nodes and they're complex, forget about it. Like, it doesn't you can't, that's just one of the downsides. Like, if it's not an Octane native plugin, it's not gonna work. So for example, I'm about to do a Quixel right now, so let me go up and show you how I convert materials. You literally need to rebuild the material from scratch, and if you don't know how to work with nodes and like know what nodes to use to build their node thing, it's just pretty much one of the downsides of using Octane. And I'm not using Blender 4.02 because I have too many issues with crashing and stuff. I'm using the Blender standalone version 3.65, and it's and it works fine for me. I have no issues. But when I use the plugin version with the updated version of Blender, it just, like, sometimes it won't even open. It just opens and crash. So I really can't debug those right now. Okay, check it out. I'm gonna load a quick acid in here, guys, just to show you how I convert materials. And I'm just gonna go in here and just grab one of these bricks. Again, I just loaded quick swap today. I'm so happy I did. This thing is awesome. Hang on. Still kind of new getting around in here. I just want a brick. Where's the bricks? I thought I just saw. Let's go to here. Roadside construction. Thanks for your answer. I really appreciate it. No problem, dude. That's why I'm here, helping everybody out. We're all struggling, trying to get this thing to work. Okay, I'm gonna use this brick here and show you how I convert materials. Let this load up. Okay, and then I hit the blue button, and this also says exporting to Blender and exporting successfully, so it should be in our scene. And there it is. Again, I always keep my guy in the scene to make sure things are in real world scale. Here's our brick. Let's zoom in. Now this is how I convert materials. Hang on one second, guys. Okay, good. I had to plug in my headphones, get my music going. So here's our brick. We jump in, fire up the render. We don't see anything. Why? Because we're using a Cycles material, and Cycles materials don't work with Octane materials. That's why, like, if you're using a plugin where people build stuff, like they build out these, you know, the botanical type things, they build these complex nodes so you can have more control, like with the materials. Unfortunately, Octane cannot convert those materials over. So if you don't know how to do the node magic, we're just out of luck. So this is what I do. For example, this material I just brought in. Right now, the normal map is plugged into the emission strength. If I convert this material, Octane doesn't know what to do with that. So I take this and plug it into the normal. Octane knows a normal map. And then again here, we have this roughness. This roughness is going into the specular. I'm going to take this roughness and also plug it into roughness. So I got specular and roughness, right? And then up here, we just have this basic albedo material. Okay, so this is the basic setup. From here, I just go over to converters, press, make sure you're on the material tab, convert to Octane material. Only select a material, yes, press OK. Boom, it converted the material for us. Now if we look here, we've got our material, but check it out, something's still not right. This thing has glossiness to it, and it's a brick, and it shouldn't, because if we look at the actual version here, if I click on this, hang on one second, if I click on this and look here, this thing is like fully, let's let it load up. Okay, this thing is fully diffuse, like there's no glare to it. So I can't figure out why this wasn't working. Let me make it big for a minute. Here's our materials. Here's our albedo, that's plugged in the correct slot. Our next one here, roughness, is plugged into the specular, that's okay. And then we did the other one, we made a repeat. And then this one is also plugged into the roughness, that's okay. AGX, energy preserve, that's all good. We scroll down here, and then we have our normals. Normals are plugged in, okay? Everything's correct, but why are we still seeing this glossiness on here? What I found out was, if we bring in a default universal material, universal. Here's our universal material. There's one thing here. Coding is set to black, but when you convert it, for some reason, the coding is set to white. Check it out. We take the coding, bring this down, boom, there it is. Now we have our full roughness the way it should be. And like, I spent like an hour trying to figure out why this was happening until I noticed that the coding was off. Okay, so now that's working properly. it looks the way it should be, and it looks good. Hang on quickly, what I want to do, jump back. Oh, I want to play with this AGX. So let's come in here quickly and just set up a scene with this. I'm gonna press A. I'm gonna go to mesh, and I'm gonna use where is my psych plugin? Oh dude, oh here it is, psych wall plugin. I forgot who I got this plugin from, but it was a YouTube guy. Check it out, it's a really cool thing. Like, you can make these psychs, I can control the width, the depth of it, the height of it. I can make a left wall, right wall, so it's like this complete like dome. It's a really cool plugin. It was a free plugin too, right? Okay, so I like where it's at. Go ahead and jump into my camera really quick. Something like that. We'll kind of get this thing just floating up here like that. Again, I like to work in real world scale. That's extremely important. Hang on a second, there we go. And what was I doing? Okay, camera. I got a 90mm on here. Probably want to crank that up a little bit, maybe to a 110. Most 110s will have an f-stop of about 2.8, the lowest. That's real world. Take this dropper, put it on there. I like to give it a little bit of anamorphic squeeze, 2.2 on the aspect ratio with the aspect edge ratio of 2, and I like to give it 8 counts. A little bit of blades on my there. So let's go ahead and fire this up. And it looks like it missed the focus there. Is it on there? Yes, it is on there. What's going on? Let's jump out of the camera really quick, turn on my camera so I can see where it's at. Interesting. Hang on. Oh, autofocus. Turn off autofocus. There we go. Alright, so that's what we got going there. My guy. We don't need him. Good night. And oh, I totally forgot to fix the chat, guys. The background, I wanted to fix the background on that chat so I can see. Okay, let me catch up for a minute on the chat here. How's your version already? Hope you're all doing well. Also, do you know why I can use thank you for answering my question. JJ, what up? What up? I was just having this issue. You saved me, huh? I'm glad I did. Good, good. Good morning. What's AGX? Is it like a different shading model? No, AGX is like ACES. It's like a different color space, workspace. You know, your standard blender, you have what is it? Filmic. If we go down to our color management here, if I click this, scroll all the way down, right here you have your color displays. Well, right here, Filmic, raw. But for Octane, we always have to be in raw. And we need to be sRGB and this set to none, and then we use it through our camera. So in our camera, I typically use ACES. This is right here. I'm always using the ACES workflow, and if you take a look at the viewer here and I switch it from ACES, this is standard. This is standard sRGB, and this is ACES, right? So what I'm doing is I'm going to use this new one here called sRGB AGX, which is actually in Blender 4.0. It's actually in there now. Like, you can just come over here to raw and you'll see ACES or AGX over here. So I just basically loaded it up for me, and then I can go here to like maybe punchy or something like that. So that's what AGX is, just a color space. How do you get the 3.65 version, if you don't mind me asking? My auto subscription redirects me to Blender 4.0 version. That's funny that some people say that. Yeah, mine does not do that. Like, no, I just literally, I just go to Otoy. Damn, I don't get to redirect it. I did once and I never got it again. I just go to Otoy. Make sure you sign in. Actually, not to. I see I bookmarked the manual because I'm always in this manual. and it's absolutely the most worst manual in the world. I actually end up using the Cinema 4D manual more than I do the Blender because it's just so vague and outdated. Hang on, let's jump back here. So once you sign in, hang on here. But I literally just go to, hang on, giving everybody all my information. Hang on for a second. I just go to, what do I go to? I just go to Old Toy. Hang on 1 second here. Once I signed in, hang on 1 second. I go to Otoy, then I go to shop. Okay. Once you're in shop, I literally just go free trial. And then I go to Octane Premiere free tier, try now. And then from there, it brings me to this page right here. And then here's here Octane Prime for Blender, Octane Downloader Blender Edition, and then I do the Windows version, and then I download this right here too, the not Unreal, this right here, the Prime Octane server. That's how I do it. I have a new video I just posted, the whole workflow, so you should be able to see it on my page 2024. I walk through the whole steps. Yeah, because there was an update, so that's why I kind of redid the 2024 video. So right here, you click on this video here, free Blender Octane 2024 setup guide, and I'll walk you through everything, how to set it up. All right, so with this AGX here, I'm gonna quickly just set up a light setup here. And I'm gonna do a quick 3-point lighting setup here. Let's just kill this. Let's bring in a light. And I'm gonna bring in an area light. GZ it up. And then I like to come over here to constraints, add a constraint, track 2. And we'll go ahead and select the brick. And grab this. This will be my key light. I like something like that. And then I like to change this to a disc. It's gonna scale it up so it's something nice, big and soft. Look at that, gorgeous. All right, and kind of bring it up a little bit, make it even bigger. There we go. There we go. Then I'm gonna duplicate it again. Come onto this side here. Shift duplicate. And bring this one over here. This is gonna be more for, let's make this smaller. This is gonna be our fill light. And then I'm gonna also do one more here in the back. Shift duplicate. And make this one even smaller. All right, and then I'm gonna do this and bring this over here. Okay, switch this over to object. I should have did it on the first light so I don't have to repeat this whole process, but I messed up. I'm gonna switch this, press Shift S, go to emission. I like to use black body emissions, real world specs, right? All right, 6500. I'm gonna take this, copy this, and go to the next light here, my fill light. I'm gonna knock the power down on this like 25. And then the same thing, actually, Control V, delete that, plug this in. Dude, running this thing with my with the render on, just it literally just kills my computer. emission. So I always jump out of the screen so I can work quicker. Can't wait to get a new machine. And this one was going to be, we'll knock this down to 25. And then we got our backlight here. Same process. This is gonna be just for our edge light emission, and I'm gonna probably take this down to also like 25. And let's see. And then I like to break it down here individually. So let's come over here. Let's go boom, boom, boom. And my edge light. Can't even see it, huh? G. There it is. It's sitting way too high, that's why we can't see it. Something like that. A little bit more behind here. And see how we can see the light. If you don't want to see it, go to your opacity, put that to 0. I'm going to stretch this up on the Z. Kind of something like that. GZ it up a little bit. Maybe scale it in on X, make it nice and narrow. I just wanted to pick up this edge here a little bit. That's all I'm trying to do. This camera's getting in the way. Can I ask which GPU do you have? I am considering upgrading to an RTX 480. Bro, I'm using an GTX 1050 Ti. So anything that's better than this is better. This laptop is literally like from 2015. So yeah, you're gonna be golden. And I'm making it work with this, right? You know. Let me scale that back down just a little bit there. So. Okay, I like that. We got a little bit of edge right here that is picking up. And then I'm gonna add in my next one, which will be this little fill light over here. And let's kind of bring that closer. This is kind of just practicing lighting, dude. This is what it's all about, guys. Just practicing. Dude, and your renders are amazing. Thanks, but they take forever. But I just render when I go to bed. That's all I do. Like, this is my whole routine. I'll make stuff during the day, and then when I know I'm ready to render, just render before I go to bed. This light, I'm gonna bring it down just a little bit softer. Maybe like 15. Kind of like that. And let's bring in our key light. Key light's way too hot. I want it to be big like that though, but let's bring this down to maybe 75. Divide by 2. Going for more like a high key studio look, I guess. Like, you know, I think that might be a little bit too hot though. And you know what? Let's go and tweak it from the camera here, camera imager. So let me bring this down and kind of work my way back up. Something like that. And then I think my fill light might be too hot, because there's the shadows without the fill light, and there's a fill light. My key, I should name these really fast. That's my fill. I'm gonna bring the fill light down just a little bit. Let's make that, divide that by half. See, now we get just a little bit more contrast on that side there. And my key light, there's my, where's my backlight? My rim light. Rim. Okay, and then I like to just turn everything off here and I just play with it again. To me, this rim light, see, like, is just lighting up more of the ground than anything. I make this smaller. Bring it a little bit closer. All right. Key. I think my key might be just a little bit too big. And let's bring it a little bit closer. And just a little bit more to the side here. And that angle, I want it to be real sharp. Yeah, I like that angle. And bring the rim light back. And the fill light. Yeah, that fill light, we should probably bring it down even more. Fill light should just be in ever so slightly. Divide that by half again. I'm gonna put a little bit of material on the back of this here. Darken it down just a tad bit. Add a little bit of roughness. Something like that. Just to make this pop a little bit. Alright, I can dig it. Let's go back to... Alright, so we're messing with this. ASUS sRGB, display, native. What else do they have in here? But definitely, I know it should be at sRGB. What is display native? Huh, display native doesn't look too bad either. sRGB. Display P3. I think it actually should probably be a display native. I'll have to look up what or where should it be for Octane. Because in the video he put his at sRGB using, he was using Cinema 4D, he went sRGB, he went right there. To me it looks a little bit too washed out. And that even looks worse. So I think I'm gonna put it at display native. Punchy. That looks cool. And then from here, now that we should probably be able, since we have this turned off, we can probably play with the gamma. Does this stuff work? No, that stuff doesn't work. Okay, turn that one off. Give it a little bit of vignette. Let's go 0.5. Maybe a little bit more. Saturation. I'll go 1.3 on the saturation, just a little bit. What about tone mapping? Oh, that's from the ASUS stuff. Upsampling. Hot pixels. Don't see a difference. Hot pixeling. Then we can come over here at the bottom. You can play with the gamma. This stuff here, right? So if I want to get a little more contrast, they look. Exposure, see. I actually liked it where it was. I liked it there. I just wanted to bring the gamma down just a tad bit, just to bring a little bit of contrast in. kind of bring that up, maybe just to bring a little bit of punchiness back in. And this is what I do, guys. Just play around in Blender. That's all it is. Just playing around. Matter of fact, let's just go ahead and put one of these on the ground. Easiest way I like to put stuff on the ground. Turn on the snapping. Go to face project. Click it. G, Z. And it's gonna... Actually, I probably should Alt R. Set the redo the rotation. G, Z. Boop, and it sets it right on the ground. This guy bring up. But you gotta turn it off, right? When you don't want to use it. Like G, Z. Do want to have that floating. I'm gonna press Alt D X, slide this one over, rotate on the Z, rotate on the X, nope, Y, 90. Actually, rotate Y 180. Snapping on GZ. Rotate. Snapping off. GX. GZ down a little bit. I don't know. It's just a pile of bricks. I don't know. It's just a pile of bricks. It's nothing cool. I'm just playing with this AGX stuff. I'm just playing with lighting. Probably should have just did a rigid body sim on these things here. That would probably have been the easiest thing to do, huh? Matter of fact, can we do that? How dense are these? They're all triangled. They're pretty dense. I'm not gonna do that right now. That's done. I'm actually done anyways here. Quickly just line this up with the camera a little bit better. Sweet. Alright, I know to render this out. Well, it is saving, but it's not saving what I wanted to save. And where is it saving? I have no idea. Power save. Ooh, it's actually saving in a power saving area where I normally don't save. 24 February. Let's back out of here. Well, mission was completed. We did get AGX installed. And I did show you guys how to do the Quixel thing, so it doesn't feel like a complete waste of time. Even though I'm not gonna have like a daily render to pop out. Okay, render settings. 500, 8, 8, 8. I think I'm just gonna go with that. Matter of fact, I'm just gonna fire that off and see. Answer some questions. You guys got any questions here while this is rendering? And the depth of field is way too much. Hang on. I can already tell. Bring my camera back. Again, depth of field, be subtle. Be subtle with it. It can be overly used very easily. I'm gonna go ×4. Let's go 8.2. And I'm gonna move that and turn it off because I want to control it. I want it to be more right about there. And let's see what that looks like. Alright, where are we at with questions? We got any questions in here? This is worth 3.6. That's great. Can you tell me about GPUs? Dude, amazing height. Thanks. Good. So where are you guys at? Where are you guys from? It's 12:53 a.m. Friday morning here in Japan. Ooh, that's actually coming out pretty nice, guys, with the AGX. And see, we got a little bit of a subtle depth of field there, 8.2, not too much. Let's see. Trivia. What's your recommended workflow for importing megascans in use of Octane? Well, this is my first day playing with these things, so the main thing is for me, I have to keep my maps to 2K and below, because 4K I don't have a lot of memory on my GPU. I think I got like 8 gigs, so I have to kind of hang around the 2K maps. Like 4K maps I don't really do too much because it just kind of eats up my memory. And these are 2K maps right now that I'm using, and they look great, dude. I mean, look how close I am on some of these shots here. They look great. So if you got the space, I would say rock it. But if you don't, keep your it's all about keeping that memory in check. And the way you can check in Octane, if you come down to Octane server, and then you come down to I think it was this one, device preferences. If you hit this, look like nothing happens, but it's actually going to pop up down here, and you'll see this little Octane logo. Click on that, and then here will tell you right here. So matter of fact, I don't even have 8 gigs, I have 4 gigs, sorry. But it'll tell you right here, I got 4 gigs, and this blue is the how much it uses already, 2.5 gigs just to run it. That's connecting with the server and, you know, sending data, I guess. And then you got your film buffer, geometry is less than 3 megabytes, so we don't have a lot of geometry. Unavailable 1.2, you basically can't use that. Node system is not even 2.1 kilobytes, that's nothing. Image texture size is 68 megabytes, again because I'm using just 2K maps and there's not a lot. It's only really one, and I'm just duplicating it. That's why I do Alt D instead of, I duplicated the first one, and then after that I went Alt D on 3 others, it's just a copy, right? So, and then here you can also do your GP at headroom. Like for me, I have issues running the Octane denoiser because I don't have enough memory. So I crank this number up and I can get it to run, but it just takes too long. So I don't use it. I just use the standard you'll see my my compositing setup here that I use. This is the setup that I use. I just use the denoiser that comes with it with standard Blender. I pump my stuff through there, and I don't even know if this is working normal shading, but I just have it connected there, and then I put it into a mix node so I can control how much is being mixed between the denoise and the image. So I'm like at 0.4, which is very low, not too much. And then I like to add a little bit of lens distortion on there, and I add that on there with a little bit of dispersion, and that's pretty much it. You'll see what that looks like here. Where's the rendering? So we're already at 473 samples. I just did a quick 500 samples. Most of the stuff that I do, I keep it at 500 just for a still image. If there's a lot of fog and haze, then I start cranking up the numbers. All right, so it's gonna do the compositing part. So it's gonna basically add in the, I mean, look, it looks clean right now, and that's without denoising. So that's why I try to get it as best as I possibly can with these numbers, starting off low and then work your way up. That's the best way to do it. So that still took 4 minutes and 43 seconds on my machine with the 1050 Ti. Tight. And this image looks okay, dude. It doesn't look that bad. That came out nice. Let me save this. And this is AGX. I go pre, and then I'm just gonna do an RGB. If there's something really crazy, I normally do an EXR, but just for these little daily things, I just do RGB 16-bit, no compression. Save that. And then when I take to do from here, recently I've been taking it into optics from Boris Effects. But this one, I'm just gonna take it into Photoshop because I just want to do my normal little post rendering effect, just so I can compare it to some of the other stuff that I do. Alright, so Photoshop, make a copy, get my pen, and the first thing I like to do for something like this is I literally just go straight into Dehancer. Dehancer is kind of like a plugin that I use, a sponsor thing from back in my video channel that I do. It kind of simulates old film stock, and I love old film stock. I love that whole retro stuff, so I always put these things on my, come up in here to film. Matter of fact, like motion picture film. Here we got the Fuji film stock, Kodak V300, no, Kodak 3, Kodak V Vision 500. These are all old film emulations. Then I got regular stock photos, so just like all real world stuff here, like Kodak Chrome, right? But I got a couple of go-tos that I like to go to. Go back to my last used. It's the one I used yesterday. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? Damn it. First, I always take this and I always make it convert it to a smart object, so I can control how much of these filters that I'm putting onto it. I actually kind of like that one. Ooh, I actually really like that one. It really brings out the highlights and contrast there. Cine Still Kodak. I think we're gonna rock the Cine Still Kodak. And then I can come in here I can add like some other real world stuff that happens when you're using film, like halation. Halation, let me show you what halation does. Let me crank it up here for a minute. You're not going to get too much of it because it's not really a super bright image for it, but I just want to see if I can get some to pop. Yeah, we're not even going to be able to see any because this image is not super bright. Hang on, let me just go click off that and set it back to where it was at. But I like that. And then we can even add a little bit of bloom in here, but again, this preset doesn't really pump any of that too much, but I really love it for the grain. The grain looks absolutely fantastic. Then with the smart filter, I can come in here and I can control how much of that I want to come through. Oh, sorry, double click that too much. Dude, why isn't it giving me the little box that I normally have? Blending options. There it is. And this little thing here allows me just to bring down the opacity. So sometimes I just kind of like to bring it in just ever so like 75. Maybe right there. That looks good. And then I come in here to final. And then I come into my camera raw filter. And kind of this is like basically Lightroom inside of Photoshop. I always like to see what auto does first. Ooh, nice and punchy. I like that. I like that a lot. We're gonna rock that. Sometimes it gets some bad results. Highlights. Pick up these highlights. Maybe a little too much there, huh? Bring down the lights just a little bit. I'd rather bring up the highlights a little bit. Bring down this white. And the black. Shadow. Under my curves. Actually come way down here at the end and just lift this up a little bit. Cool. And then details. I like to come into the detail. Bring this up to about 100. A little bit of a max haze tip here. Hold down Alt, and then I can dial in the sharpness of where I want things to be sharp. Like I just want these edges. I don't want the whole thing being sharpened like that. I want it just to be sharp, like kind of here on the edges, something like that. Like right here, we're kind of just sharpening up these edges. And then I like to just add a little bit of noise reduction into it. This just softens it back up a little bit. Boom, and that's pretty much all I do. So, before, after, before, after. Cool. Now I'll just go ahead and export that out. Save for the web. PNG 24. Save. And then I go AG post. And bada bing, bada boom. There it is. And that's that. Alrighty guys, I think that's gonna be a wrap for today. Alrighty, so the video wasn't a complete failure. The first stream was that I had earlier today. I had to shut it down because Blender wouldn't work. But at least we got AGX installed and working, and I like the results that we got out of it. It looks pretty good. This is a lot more softer than typical stuff. I think I need to do another one and just render the same thing and do my same, just to really compare the differences with the aces. But I like the way it looks so far. Came out okay. So Patrick Var, keep rendering. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.